like I need another hand plane, like I need another hole in the head. I've had this Lee Nielsen 4.5 smoother. That's my go-to hand plane for over 25 years. Why would I get a low angle bevel up smoother? My buddy Vic from Melbourne Tool Company sent it to me, and that has now made a home in my plane till. Watch the video, you'll see why, because I got a killer application for this. So let's see what it comes with. Let's open her up, and there's the hand plane. It is, oh boy, that just feels nice. So let's look at the blade real quick. Open it up, take the lever cap off. Oh, this is a cool adjuster. And oh, like the instructions said that I downloaded online, there's a light grease on here, and I'm gonna clean that all off. And I'm gonna remove the adjuster right there. And yep, let's just look at the blade. Looks like it's flattened, but you know how I like a mirror finish. And I wanna compare apples to apples on this versus a Lee Nielsen 4.5 that I've had for 32 years. I also got this. It's an M2 high-speed steel plane iron. This is a 25 degree. And because of difficult woods I work, I got the 38 degree. So, and I'm looking to also get a 50 degree. Now, later on in the video, I will tell you why you need the different degrees. So I wait for the mineral spirits. I'll wipe it off and wait for it to flash. And once I get that sharp, I'm gonna take some camellia oil and I will treat the entire body of the plane after I degrease it, but also here, and camellia oil is fantastic. I have it in there, and I always have that also in a rag, so it reduces the chance of oxidation. So let's just take it to paper, dead flat surface, and let's see how well this was lapped out of the box. Just remember, you always have to do this once. And you can see, holy macanoli. You don't have much work on this, but there is some. I just really concentrate on that front edge. But I start with 6 for my lapping. And what I'll do is I'll just put that on there. And yes, I like the back to be a mirror finish. I'm a little retentive that way, but I just love when I have a dead flat blade. And like I said, I want to compare apples to apples with this, because that's how my 30-year-old or 30-plus-year-old Lee Nielsen 4.5 is. And then one final step, I just take it to my leather strop like this and just do a final polish on there. And there's a lot of times when I start hand planing, I just take my blade out and bring it to the strop just to get that wire edge going again. So I went with the Japanese stone because I don't have to sharpen this a lot. It comes fairly sharp, but I want to put that mirror finish on there, and this Tormac Japanese stone is 4,000 grit roughly. So we got a great edge off the Tormac. I knocked the corners off so we won't get any plane tracks, and we're ready to go. Let's go set up the plane. So let's talk a little bit about the blade geometry, how the blades bed, and not to get too confusing. All right, so let's start with bevel up. The blade, 25 degree bevel that comes with it, is bevel up. It acts just like this bench plane, 60.5 from Lee Nielsen I have, where this is 12 degree and this is 12 degree. This is 25 degree, this is 25 degree. I don't want to say this is basically a wider and bigger block plane, but to me it seems like it is. All right? So when you add it up, 12 degrees and this 25 degree bevel, bedded on the 12, you end up with 37, just like the 60.5 by Lee Nielsen. Okay, so I've had this one for over 25 years. This is your traditional plane. And when we look at the bevel, it's 25. So to change the pitch on a bevel down plane, It's determined on the frog. This is a 45-degree frog from Lee Nielsen. And all their bench planes on the Bedrock design are bedded at 45. You can't change it unless you get one of their high-pitch frogs. And each one of those is $125. So you have to take it all out. It takes about 2 minutes to change out. But it's $125 each. And they have a 50, which is your traditional York pitch, and a 55, which is a mid-pitch. And those are for wacky grains. Where, and this is the caveat, because, and this is why I love this new plane in the SedgeTool shop, I got a 38-degree beveled blade here. And you can also get them, let me just check it out, you can get them at 50-degree. But boy, is this a winner, because let's add it up, 12-degree bedding, 38-degree, you have a York pitch on this, and it is perfect for gnarly grains. So this is your adjuster, and you'll notice this is going to sit in the bottom here, and that will go in this hole in the blade, and you can move it back and forth to create depth. But the nice part of that pivot point that sits down in there is that your lateral adjustment too. So you just got to be careful, because it's a really killer tight tolerance in there. And I fiddle faddle with this, and there you go. So I always like to have a light surface here. I've adjusted the throat really wide, and I'll show you how to adjust the throat later. But you see that little point right there? I'm going to slide it in. I'm being very cautious of my blade edge, and I just slide it on there like this. And I make sure it's seated all the way in there. And I'm going to back it off, and you can see it moving in here. Okay. I'm going to back it off, and I always look side to side to make sure I have even spacing here and here. So I'm going to put on this cap iron. I'm going to slip it in and bring it in just like this. Slip it all the way down in. And when I tighten it up, I'm not going to do a lot of tightening, because my adjustments sometimes, you'll see in a few minutes, I like to adjust it with a tap here with my favorite plane iron. When you tighten your cap iron here, I would just, or your lever cap, I wouldn't over crank it, because you still got some adjustments. So what I want to do is give a rough adjustment. I like to always adjust with my eyes rough on a piece of white background. So I'm just going to take this and slowly advance it. And on that white background, I can start to see if I'm too high here or low, or too low here or high, and just slowly advance it. And then we'll take it to wood, and this looks pretty good when I bring it up like this. So we're gonna start to get a little bit of a cut as I advance it on that piece of paper. So this is a visual for you to come in here, and if you see this graph paper, say I'm cutting too deep on this edge, and we'll do that when we hit the wood with it. Okay, I want to show you if I'm too deep here, that means I got to make it shallower. So if I hit it here with my plane iron, watch what the blade does. And this is a good visual, and I can knock it back and forth to get it so it's cutting right center mass. So let's check to see if we got the right setup and make our fine adjustments. So I'm going to come in here. Oh, and you're going to see, look, I'm cutting center mass on this. So sometimes your rough adjustment can be dead on. That's why I like to use that graph paper. And for me already, this is dead on. It was an easy setup. So what I'm going to do is I always go to the right is my depth. I don't loosen that right away because I had a little bit of plane, and that is tightening down as I go this way. So let's take that. Look at that. It's right on center mass. So to get a little more depth, I'm going to back it off. Go like that, tighten it back up and see where we're at. And look at that, holy macanoli. And I mean, that's coming off, but let's check it out on this 3/4, and we're getting full mass on that. So, and you're gonna see in here, I'm not, see it's smooth here because this is a little bit higher, and I gotta get in here because that's where my saw blade marks. So let's check it out. Oh my goodness, is that nice. Really nice. Okay, good. So I'm going to make the cut with my bevel down or my traditional bench plane from Lee Nielsen. And you're gonna see I'm cutting a heavy cut. So I'm gonna back it off here just a little bit. And you're gonna see I'm getting a full cut. But there's a difference between the two that I have noticed. And this is the 4.5. There is so much mass to this, and this is why I like it. It weighs, oh my goodness, and we'll get a scale out here, but there's a lot of, how do you say, momentum in here as I use this. So this will always have a place in the shop. But so far, I really like the cut coming off of here. Look at that, that is sweet. And that setup was easy. So let's compare the weight. And on this, you have 3 pounds, 6 ounces. Wow. And let's try the Lee Nielsen. Wow, 2 pounds more. So that is a lot to carry you through a cut. So just like my 60.5, I'm gonna loosen it up here. So we can look down in here. And you're gonna see, this is your throat adjustment. I'm gonna open this up, and there's this little tab, and you can see right there, I can bring and tighten the throat down on it. And the reason you do that is that leading part of the hand plane will support, as you're cutting, it'll break it right here, and you'll have less of a grain follow on it. So the nice thing about the Melbourne Smoother is it's the same design, and I can adjust. Once I have my blade cutting center mass, I can dial that in, and look how easy that is. So let's take a couple more cuts. Look at that. And you know what? I actually feel the difference. What a sweet plane this is. So I dialed the Lee Nielsen bevel down plane years ago. I tightened the throat on it. And it's not difficult, but it's time consuming. If you see how I have a really tight throat in there, okay, so I'm going to show you how you do it on a bevel down. Okay, these are 2 pins that are solid that have a through hole on it, and this is the bedrock design. So what you got to do is you got to take these pins out that go through those holes, and then take a screwdriver here, and this adjusts the entire frog in and out. And what you do is you put your blade in there when it's set, and that's how you set your throat. This, in my eyes, is a little bit easier, and you can tweak it more often. So I just switched out the 25-degree blade that comes with the Melbourne Tool Smoother bevel up. But you got to remember what I said earlier. It's a 12-degree bed. So I got a 38-degree pitch because I want to see how it works on gnarly grains, like this curly red oak I have here. This is a sweet board, and when I was using my Lee Nielsen smoother, I was getting tear out. So when you look at that, the 12-degree with the 38-degree bevel, you add them up and you get 50 degrees. So that's your traditional York pitch, 50-degree, which was on all the Norris smoothers. So let's give it a try. Wow, look at that. And there's a little more hesitation on it. You got to put a little more oomph into it because you're actually scraping it with that high pitch. But boy, is that nice. Wow. Look at that shavings coming off. And you just work it across like this, and boy, you can hear it, can't you? Wow, is that nice. So if you check this out, Chris, get in here. Hopefully you can see. That's like glass. That's ready for finish. In the past, I would hit it with my regular smoother and then scrape it somehow, whether I use a scraper like this or a scraper like this or a hand plane scraper like this old Stanley 112. But look how sweet that is. Okay, so this is the elephant in the room. Compare the price. Now, I got this over 25 years ago, But right now, I checked out the Lee Nielsen website. It sells for $360. I think it's worth every single daggone penny. I know it's 2 pounds more, but this is an extension of my right arm. Now this is a killer value. It is a beautiful, well-tuned, right fit and finish is great out of the box, okay? It's 189 bucks. I'm gonna suggest this though. Drop another $30. The blades are only $30. They're M2 steel. They're wicked thick. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a killer value, okay? So this is gonna stay in the SedgeTool shop for sure. Okay, so first, to wrap this up, I wanna thank Vic for sending me this smoother, low angle smoother, and the blade. Thank you very much, Vic, much appreciated. I did not think I needed another hand plane in the SedgeTool shop, and daggone it, you proved me wrong. This will stay for this application of wacky, wild, gnarly grain. The low angle with the quick adjustable throat with this 38 degree to give me that York pitch is exceptional. So, another tool in the SedgeTool shop has a home. There you go. Be positive, stay sharp, wicked sharp.